It's okay, little one.
He wouldn't stop crying. For 3 hours, everyone on that plane suffered. Passengers were angry. The father was desperate. Then, a poor teenager from the back of the plane did something unthinkable. He walked up to first class, reached for the baby, and in that moment, everything went silent. What happened next will bring tears to your eyes and restore your faith in humanity. This is a true story about how one act of kindness changed 2 lives forever. Stay with me until the end, because what this billionaire offers the teenager will shock you. Welcome to the story room. While you are here, please hit the subscribe button and comment your view on the story and where you're watching from. Section 1. The Impossible Flight, 1,000 Words. Picture this. A packed airplane flying from New York to Paris. In first class, a man sits with his head in his hands, completely exhausted. Picture this. A packed airplane flying from New York to Paris. In first class, a man sits with his head in his hands, completely exhausted. His name is James Patterson, and he's one of the most successful real estate developers in America. He owns hotels, shopping centers, and office buildings worth billions of dollars. But right now, none of that money or power can help him with the problem screaming in his arms. His baby daughter, Lily, has been crying nonstop for 3 hours straight. 3 whole hours. Every passenger on that plane can hear her desperate wails echoing through the cabin. James has tried everything a desperate father can think of. He's walked up and down the aisles until his legs ache, bouncing her gently. He's offered her bottle after bottle, but she pushes them away. He's changed her diaper 4 times in that tiny airplane bathroom, sweating and struggling in the cramped space. Nothing works. The other first-class passengers are getting angry. Really angry. An older businessman keeps checking his watch loudly and sighing. A well-dressed woman is typing furiously on her phone, probably complaining to her friends about the inconsiderate parents, ruining her expensive flight. Even the flight attendants have run out of suggestions, offering him sympathetic smiles that can't hide their concern. James feels his face burning with embarrassment. Here he is, a man who makes million-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, who commands respect in every boardroom he enters, and he can't figure out how to comfort his own 6-month-old daughter. It's humiliating. It's exhausting. And worst of all, he can see that Lily is truly suffering, and he has no idea how to help her. You see, James wasn't supposed to be on this flight alone with Lily. His wife, Catherine, was supposed to be with him. But she had emergency surgery 2 days before the trip, and the nanny they hired got food poisoning at the last minute. James thought about canceling, but this Paris trip was too important. He had meetings scheduled with international investors that could make or break his company's expansion into Europe. So, he convinced himself, how hard could it be to manage a baby for 5 days? Now he knows the answer. Very hard. Impossibly hard. As Lily's cries reach a new level of intensity, James feels panic rising in his chest. He has 5 days of crucial business meetings ahead of him. He can't bring a screaming baby into conference rooms full of serious investors. His entire European deal could fall apart. His company's future could be ruined. All because he can't figure out what his daughter needs. What James doesn't know is that 3 rows behind him, sitting in economy class, a 17-year-old boy named Tyler Brooks has been listening to Lily's cries with growing concern. Tyler is traveling to Paris alone, carrying a worn backpack containing all his belongings and a plane ticket that his entire neighborhood helped pay for through bake sales and donations. Tyler is from Brooklyn, New York. He lives with his mother, his grandmother, and his 2 younger siblings in a small 3-bedroom apartment. Money has always been tight. His mother works long shifts at a hospital cafeteria, and his grandmother takes care of the kids during the day. Tyler wears secondhand clothes and studies using library books because his family can't afford new textbooks. But Tyler has a gift. He's a musical genius. And he's on his way to Paris to compete in the International Youth Music Competition, where the winner gets a full scholarship to the famous Juilliard School of Music. It's his one chance to escape poverty and build a better future, not just for himself, but for his whole family. 2 years ago, Tyler's baby brother, Jesse, was born with terrible colic. Jesse would scream for hours every single day and night. The family couldn't afford expensive doctors or special treatments. So Tyler spent months researching, experimenting, trying everything he could think of to help his baby brother. Through trial and error, he finally discovered a combination of gentle techniques, special holding positions, and soft humming that could calm Jesse down within minutes. Now, as Tyler listens to Lily's desperate crying, he recognizes the same type of distress that Jesse used to have. He knows he can help, but there's a problem. Tyler is a young black kid from a poor neighborhood. James is a wealthy white businessman in first class. Tyler knows from experience that many people would see him as a threat rather than a helper. He's been followed in stores, questioned by police, treated with suspicion his whole life just because of how he looks and where he comes from. For 2 long hours, Tyler sits in his economy seat, wrestling with a decision. Should he try to help? Should he risk the embarrassment of being rejected or accused of something? He tries to focus on his music sheets, preparing for the competition that represents his entire future. But Lily's cries make it impossible to concentrate. Finally, Tyler's compassion wins over his fear. He closes his folder, takes a deep breath, and stands up. Several passengers nearby look at him curiously as he walks toward the front of the plane. The flight attendant at the divider between economy and first class looks at him with polite suspicion. "Can I help you?" she asks, clearly ready to send him back to his seat. "The baby in first class," Tyler says quietly, respectfully. "I think I might be able to help." And that's when everything changed. The flight attendant looks skeptical. You can see it in her eyes. A teenager from economy class wanting to help a first-class passenger's baby? It sounds strange, maybe even suspicious. But before she can say anything, James appears in the aisle, holding the screaming Lily, looking absolutely desperate. "Did someone say they can help?" James asks, his voice cracking with exhaustion. His expensive suit is wrinkled, his hair is a mess, and his eyes are red from stress and lack of sleep. Tyler takes another deep breath. This is the moment. "Sir, my name is Tyler Brooks. I know I'm just a kid, but I have a baby brother who had really bad colic. I learned some techniques that helped him. I think your daughter might be feeling the same kind of discomfort." James stares at Tyler for a long moment. He sees a young man in worn jeans and a faded jacket. He sees intelligence in Tyler's eyes, confidence in his posture, and most importantly, genuine concern for Lily's well-being. James is too exhausted and too desperate to care about anything except finding relief for his daughter. "What kind of techniques?" James asks, shouting over Lily's cries. Gentle pressure on her back combined with a special way of holding her, Tyler explains calmly, professionally. It helps release gas and digestive pressure. Also, babies sometimes get overwhelmed by too much movement. They need steady, calm pressure instead. Every passenger in first class is now watching this interaction. Some look doubtful about trusting a teenager. Others look hopeful that anyone, might finally bring peace to this flight. James makes a decision that will change everything. "Please," he says, extending Lily toward Tyler. "If you think you can help her, I'll try anything." What happens next seems like magic. The moment Tyler's hands touch Lily, her crying starts to fade. Tyler holds her in a position James has never seen before, supporting her head with one hand while applying gentle, rhythmic pressure along her tiny spine with the other. "Babies with colic often have trapped gas," Tyler explains softly as he works. "This position helps release the pressure, and the back massage helps their digestion." Lily's screaming reduces to whimpering, then to soft hiccups, then to complete silence. The entire first-class cabin seems to hold its breath, amazed by what they're witnessing. Tyler begins humming a gentle melody, something soft and soothing. Lily's eyes, which have been squeezed shut in pain for hours, slowly open and focus on Tyler's young face. For the first time since takeoff, she looks peaceful, calm, almost happy. "Where did you learn that song?" James whispers, mesmerized. "My grandmother taught it to me," Tyler replies, continuing the gentle massage. "She said it was passed down through our family for generations. Sometimes the old ways work best." James watches in amazement as Lily completely relaxes in Tyler's arms. Her tiny fists, which have been clenched in distress, slowly uncurl. Her breathing becomes deep and regular. She looks comfortable for the first time in hours. The businessman who was complaining loudly earlier now watches Tyler with obvious respect. "Remarkable," he says to his wife. "Absolutely remarkable." The well-dressed woman puts down her phone and stares at Tyler with surprise and admiration. "I've never seen anything like that," she whispers. "How long will she stay calm?" James asks Tyler nervously. "If I'm right about what's bothering her, she should sleep peacefully for the rest of the flight," Tyler says confidently. The pressure has been released, and she's not overstimulated anymore. True to Tyler's word, Lily's eyes begin to flutter closed as she drifts into peaceful sleep. As Tyler carefully transfers the sleeping baby back to James's arms, showing him how to maintain the same supportive position, James finds himself looking at this teenager with completely new eyes. "Tyler, you said you're going to Paris for a music competition?" James asks quietly. "Yes, sir. The International Youth Music Competition. It's for high school students from around the world. The winner gets a full scholarship to Juilliard." James is impressed. "That's incredibly competitive. You must be exceptionally talented." Tyler shrugs modestly. "I love music more than anything. Whether I'm composing a song or figuring out how to help a crying baby, it's all about finding the right rhythm, understanding patterns and knowing when something's out of balance." "Tell me about yourself," James says, settling into his seat with Lily sleeping peacefully in his arms for the first time in hours. "How did a 17-year-old from New York end up qualifying for an international music competition?" Tyler's face lights up as he shares a story, though he remains standing in the aisle, unsure if he's welcome to sit in the empty first-class seat next to James. James gestures for Tyler to sit down. "Please sit. I want to hear your story." And so Tyler begins to talk. He tells James about growing up in Brooklyn, about how music was always his escape from the struggles of poverty. He explains how his music teacher, Mr. Rodriguez, noticed his talent in middle school and started staying late to give him free lessons. How he practiced on a donated keyboard in his apartment, wearing headphones so he wouldn't disturb the neighbors. How he won the New York City competition, then the state championship, then the national qualifying rounds. "How is your trip to Paris being funded?" James asks, though he suspects he already knows the answer. Tyler's expression becomes more serious. "My community raised money. The local church, the barbershop where my mom gets my hair cut, neighbors who are barely making rent themselves. They all chipped in because they believe in me. They're counting on me." James feels something shift inside him as he realizes the weight this young man is carrying. Tyler isn't just competing for himself. He's carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire community that sacrificed to give him this chance. As the plane begins its descent into Paris, James makes a decision that surprises even himself. He looks at Tyler, at this remarkable young man who appeared out of nowhere to save his sanity, and he sees something special. Something that goes beyond just being good with babies. "Tyler, I have a proposition for you," James says carefully. Tyler looks curious but cautious. "What kind of proposition, sir?" "I'm in Paris for 5 days of very important business meetings," James explains. "And as you can see, I'm completely unprepared to take care of Lily while trying to negotiate million-dollar deals." He pauses, watching Tyler's reaction. "I'd like to hire you as Lily's caregiver during my Paris trip. I'll pay you $700 per day. I'll get you a hotel room next to mine. And I'll make sure you have transportation to and from your music competition." Tyler stares at James in shock. $700 per day? That's more money than his mother makes in 2 weeks of hard work. His mind is racing, calculating. 5 days would be $3,500. That could pay his family's rent for months. That could help his grandmother get the medical care she needs. That could change everything. But then Tyler thinks about the competition. His entire future depends on winning that scholarship. Can he afford to be distracted? "Mr. Patterson," Tyler says slowly, "I'm incredibly honored by your offer. But I need to be completely focused on this competition. My whole life depends on how I perform." James smiles, recognizing the maturity in Tyler's response. "I completely understand. The competition comes first, absolutely. I would only need your help during my business meetings and in the evenings. You'd have complete freedom to practice and prepare during your free time. James leans forward, his expression becoming more serious. Tyler, in the past 3 hours, you've shown me something I don't see often in my business world. You can solve problems that others can't. You stay calm under pressure. And you acted with pure compassion, not self-interest. You didn't have to help a stranger's baby. You could have stayed in your seat and ignored the problem. But you didn't. Tyler feels overwhelmed. What started as a simple flight to Paris for his big competition is turning into something much bigger, much more complicated. Can I think about it? Tyler asks. Of course, James replies. But I should mention one more thing. What's that? James's expression becomes even more serious. My company has a foundation that supports talented young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Regardless of how you do in the music competition, I'd like to discuss how we might support your education and career goals. Tyler feels his heart pounding. This billionaire businessman he just met is offering him opportunities he never dreamed possible. But questions flood his mind. Is this offer genuine? What if there's a catch? Will accepting help from a wealthy stranger change who he is? Will his community think he's selling out? As they walk through the Paris airport together, a billionaire real estate developer, a sleeping baby, and a teenager from Brooklyn, Tyler notices the curious stares they attract. He's used to being invisible in most places. But walking next to James Patterson makes him suddenly visible in ways that feel both exciting and frightening. The car waiting outside is like something from a movie. A sleek black limousine with a driver in uniform and an interior that looks more luxurious than any place Tyler has ever been. As they drive through Paris's beautiful streets, Tyler tries to process everything happening to him. Just yesterday, he was worried about how he'd afford meals during his Paris stay. Now he's riding in a limousine with a billionaire who's offering him thousands of dollars and educational support. When they arrive at the Grand Hotel Paris, one of the most elegant hotels in the city, Tyler feels like he's entered a completely different world. The lobby has marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and furniture that probably costs more than his family's annual income. Mr. Patterson, welcome back, the hotel manager says warmly. Your suite is ready, and we've prepared the adjoining room as requested. In the elevator, Tyler tries to stay calm, but inside he's overwhelmed. He's about to stay in a luxury hotel suite as the guest of one of America's most successful businessmen. James's suite is massive, bigger than Tyler's entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer spectacular views of the Eiffel Tower. There's a full kitchen, a dining area, and multiple bedrooms with furniture that looks like it belongs in a palace. Your room is through that door, James says, gesturing toward an adjoining suite. You'll have complete privacy, your own bathroom, and you can order any food you want at any time. Tyler opens the door to his room and feels his breath catch in his throat. The bed is enormous. The bathroom has a marble shower and golden fixtures. The window offers a stunning view of the Seine River. Mr. Patterson, this is incredible, Tyler says. But I have to ask, why are you being so generous? You barely know me. James is preparing a bottle for Lily, who's starting to wake up. Tyler, in my career, I've learned to recognize exceptional people quickly. What you did on that airplane wasn't just about knowing how to calm a baby. It showed problem-solving skills, emotional intelligence, and courage. Most people wouldn't have had the guts to approach a stranger in first class and offer help. James pauses, testing the bottle's temperature. But more than that, you remind me of myself at your age. Tyler looks surprised. What do you mean? I didn't grow up wealthy, Tyler, James says quietly. My father worked in construction. My mother cleaned houses. We lived in a small apartment in Queens, not far from where you live now. I earned a scholarship to study business at NYU, and I built my company from nothing. This information completely changes Tyler's perception of James. He had assumed all billionaires were born into privilege and wealth. The difference, James continues, is that I had mentors along the way who believed in me and opened doors I couldn't have opened myself. I want to be that person for you. Tyler takes a deep breath. Okay, Mr. Patterson. I accept your offer. I'll help take care of Lily during your meetings. The next morning, Tyler wakes up in the luxury hotel room feeling both excited and terrified about the competition ahead. James has arranged for breakfast to be delivered: fresh croissants, fruit, juice, everything Tyler could want. But Tyler's stomach is too nervous to eat much. "I have meetings from 10 this morning until 4 this afternoon," James explains. "Lily usually naps from 1 to 3, so you'll have 2 full hours to focus on your competition." Tyler appreciates James's understanding. As he holds Lily while James gets ready for his meetings, Tyler discovers that caring for her actually feels natural and enjoyable. She's a sweet baby, curious about everything around her, and she seems to have formed a real attachment to him. The opening ceremony for the International Youth Music Competition is held at the famous Paris Conservatory, a historic building where legendary composers once studied and performed. Tyler walks into the grand concert hall and feels his heart racing as he sees hundreds of young musicians from around the world. These are the most talented teenagers from 70 different countries. Some wear expensive concert attire and carry professional instruments that cost thousands of dollars. Others, like Tyler, wear simple clothes and carry borrowed or donated instruments. But they all share one thing: extraordinary musical talent. "Welcome to the 42nd International Youth Music Competition," announces Madame Dubois, the competition director. "You represent the future of music. Over the next 3 days, you'll face challenges designed to test not just your technical skills, but your creativity, emotion, and ability to express what words cannot." Tyler looks around the hall and feels both intimidated and determined. He knows many of these competitors have had private lessons since they were small children, attended expensive music schools, and had every advantage money can provide. But Tyler has something they might not have: real-life experience, struggle, and music that comes from deep in his soul. The first round of competition is individual performance. Each participant must perform a classical piece and an original composition. Tyler has chosen to play Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major on the piano, followed by his own composition inspired by his Brooklyn neighborhood. When Tyler's turn comes, he walks onto the stage and sits at the beautiful grand piano. For a moment, he's so nervous his hands are shaking. Then he thinks about his grandmother, his mother, his little siblings. He thinks about his entire community who sacrificed to send him here. He closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and begins to play. The Chopin piece flows from his fingers beautifully. Tyler has practiced it thousands of times on his donated keyboard, but playing it on this magnificent piano in this historic hall brings the music to life in ways he never imagined. When he finishes, there's a moment of silence, then warm applause from the judges and audience. But it's his original composition that truly captures everyone's attention. Tyler's piece is called Brooklyn Morning, and it tells the story of his neighborhood waking up. The music captures the sound of subway trains, children laughing, street vendors calling out, his mother humming while making breakfast, his grandmother's prayers. It's deeply personal, emotional, and unlike anything the judges have heard before. When Tyler finishes, the entire hall is silent for several long seconds. Then the applause begins, loud and genuine. Several judges are wiping their eyes. After the first round, Tyler returns to the hotel to find James finishing a video conference. Lily reaches for Tyler the moment she sees him, and Tyler feels his heart warm as he picks her up. "How did it go?" James asks eagerly. "I think it went well," Tyler says. "But there are some incredibly talented musicians here. The level is higher than anything I've experienced before." James can hear the doubt creeping into Tyler's voice. "Tyler, let me tell you something. When I made my first big business presentation, I was in a room full of people with decades more experience than me. I started doubting whether I belonged there. But then I realized they invited me to that meeting because I had something valuable to offer, a perspective they couldn't find elsewhere." James continues, "You weren't randomly selected for this competition. You earned your place here. Trust in the music that got you here. Trust in your talent." Tyler feels his confidence returning. He had been focusing so much on what other competitors had that he forgot about his own unique gifts. The second day of competition involves collaborative performance, where groups of 4 musicians must create and perform a piece together within just 6 hours. Tyler is grouped with competitors from South Korea, France, and Argentina. Initially, he feels nervous working with musicians who clearly have more formal training than he does. But as they begin working together, Tyler discovers that his background actually provides advantages. While the other musicians focus on technical perfection, Tyler brings emotion and storytelling to their collaborative piece. In my neighborhood, music isn't just about perfect notes, Tyler explains to his group. It's about feeling, about telling stories that people can relate to. Our piece needs heart, not just technical skill. Jaehoon from South Korea, who had been focused on complex arrangements, looks at Tyler with new respect. You're absolutely right. We've been so worried about impressing the judges that we forgot about moving their hearts. By the end of the second day, Tyler's group scores in the top 3 for their collaborative performance. Tyler has earned recognition from the judges for bringing emotional depth to technically brilliant music. That evening, as Tyler tells James about his day while helping feed Lily, James finds himself reconsidering everything he thought he knew about talent and worth. He'd originally seen Tyler as a musically gifted teenager who deserved help. But watching Tyler's growth, his leadership abilities, and his wisdom beyond his years, James begins to see something much more significant. Tyler, I want to discuss something important with you, James says after Lily has been put to bed. What's that, Mr. Patterson? No matter what happens in tomorrow's final round, I want to offer you a position in my company after you complete your education. Tyler stares at James in confusion. A position in your company? But you're a real estate developer, and I'm a musician. How would that work? James smiles, his eyes shining with excitement about an idea that's been forming in his mind over the past few days. Tyler, I've been thinking about expanding my company's focus. Not just building hotels and shopping centers, but creating community spaces that bring arts and culture to underserved neighborhoods. Places where kids like you can access music education, instruments, and opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have. James leans forward, his passion evident. You have something incredibly rare, Tyler. You understand both the artistic side of music and the real-world challenges faced by communities that need access to the arts. You know what struggling families need, because you've lived it. That combination of talent and real experience is worth more than any business degree. Tyler feels overwhelmed by the scope of what James is proposing. Mr. Patterson, that sounds amazing, but I'm only 17. I have so much to learn before I could contribute to something that important. Exactly, James replies. Which is why I want to support your education over the next several years. The Patterson Foundation will cover all your educational expenses, Juilliard or wherever you want to study, in exchange for your commitment to eventually helping other kids from communities like yours access music education. Tyler realizes that James is offering him something much bigger than just money or a job. He's offering a partnership that could allow Tyler to achieve his dreams while staying true to his values and community. The third and final day of the competition features solo performances where each musician must perform an emotionally challenging piece that demonstrates not just technical skill but artistic maturity. Tyler has chosen to perform an original composition he's been working on for 2 years, a piece called Voices of Home. The piece tells the story of his family and community through music. It begins with his grandmother's lullabies, moves through the sounds of his Brooklyn neighborhood, captures his mother's exhaustion after long work shifts, reflects his siblings' laughter and dreams, and ends with a powerful message of hope and determination. When Tyler walks onto the stage for his final performance, he feels different than he did 3 days ago. He's not just a poor kid from Brooklyn hoping to win a scholarship anymore. He's a young man who has discovered his worth, his voice, and his purpose. Tyler sits at the piano and looks out at the audience. He sees James sitting in the front row, holding Lily, who's been allowed into the hall for the final performances. He thinks about his family back in Brooklyn, probably awake despite the time difference, praying for him. He thinks about his entire community who believed in him enough to sacrifice their hard-earned money. And then Tyler begins to play. The music that flows from his fingers is more than just notes and rhythms. It's his life story. It's every struggle, every hope, every moment of pain and joy that has shaped him into who he is. Tyler pours his entire heart into this performance, playing not just for the judges, but for everyone who has ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or invisible. When the final note fades into silence, Tyler keeps his hands on the keys for a moment, his eyes closed, his heart pounding. Then he hears it, the sound of hundreds of people rising to their feet in standing ovation. Several judges are openly crying. The audience is applauding with an intensity that shakes the concert hall. That evening at the competition's closing ceremony, Tyler sits among all the competitors as the results are announced. In third place, representing Japan, Yuki Tanaka. In second place, representing Italy, Giovanni Rossi. Tyler's heart is pounding so hard he can barely breathe. His name could be called next, or it might not be called at all. And the winner of this year's International Youth Music Competition, representing the United States, Tyler Brooks from Brooklyn, New York. The hall erupts in applause as Tyler walks to the stage in a daze, hardly believing this is real. Madame Du Bois hands him the championship trophy and the certificate guaranteeing him a full scholarship to Juilliard. Tyler, your performances over these 3 days have been exceptional, Madame Du Bois announces to the audience. But what moved our judges most was your ability to transform personal experience into universal emotion. You reminded us why music matters, because it tells stories that need to be told, gives voice to those who are often unheard, and builds bridges between different worlds. As Tyler stands on stage holding his trophy, he looks out into the audience and sees James applauding enthusiastically while Lily claps her tiny hands, as if she understands this moment's importance. Later that night in James's hotel suite, they celebrate quietly while Lily plays with her toys. Tyler, watching your journey these past few days has been one of the most inspiring experiences of my life, James says, raising his glass in a toast. Mr. Patterson, I can't begin to thank you for everything, Tyler replies, his voice thick with emotion. The competition was amazing, but the real gift was believing in me when you had no reason to. James smiles as Lily reaches toward Tyler, clearly having formed a deep attachment to the young man who brought her comfort. Tyler, I think we both learned something important this week. You discovered that your talent can take you anywhere in the world. And I learned that mentorship isn't about giving handouts. It's about recognizing potential that already exists and helping it grow. Tyler picks up Lily, who giggles and grabs his finger. You know what's funny? This all started because I helped calm a crying baby on an airplane. I never imagined that one small act of kindness would lead to all of this. James nods thoughtfully. That's life, Tyler. You never know when doing the right thing will open doors you never knew existed. As they prepare for their flight back to New York the next day, both Tyler and James know their lives have been forever changed. Tyler has won more than a music competition. He's found a mentor, a future career path, and proof that dreams can become reality through talent and determination. James has found more than a capable caregiver for Lily. He's discovered a young partner who can help him build a legacy of using business success to solve real social problems. But most importantly, both have learned that sometimes the most life-changing opportunities come from the simple decision to help someone in need, even when there's nothing obvious to gain. As their plane lifts off from Paris, heading back across the Atlantic, Tyler looks out the window at the city that changed his life and smiles. The poor kid from Brooklyn who did the unthinkable by calming a billionaire's crying baby has discovered something even more unthinkable: how far a single act of compassion can carry you. The crying stopped. The competition was won. And the future stretches ahead, filled with possibilities Tyler never dared to imagine. But he'll never forget that it all began with a simple decision to help when help was needed most. The end. If this story touched your heart, remember, every act of kindness matters. Every gesture of compassion has the power to change a life. You never know when your moment to make a difference will come. But when it does, will you have the courage to step forward and help?